Okay, so welcome to lesson 2. In this lesson, we're going to start looking at how to add some style to our code. So let's get logged into Replit. So the website you want is Replit, which is repl.it, okay, which is here. So let's log in. Remember, we are logging in with our Google credentials for our school. So we're just going to click on the Google button. We're not going to enter our details in here. So just click on the Google button. And you should instantly go in, but if you don't, obviously then enter your stuff. So we're going to start by creating a new REPL file. So we're going to go press the new REPL file, and we're going to search for HTML, and then we're going to choose this option here. We're going to call this lesson 2 adding style. Okay, once we've got lesson 2 adding style, we can then press create REPL. So same as last lesson then, you'll notice that REPL creates all of our folders for us in one file. So we have our index file, which is basically our home page. Notice that this is a .html. Then we have our script .js, which is a JavaScript file, and then we have our style.css, which is a style sheet. So we're going to be switching today between the index and the style. We're going to style 3 elements. So we're going to do 4 elements. We're going to do the body tag, we're going to do the h1 tag, the h2 tag, and the p tag. Now before we get started, let me just show you how this works. So I'm just going to delete a bit of information first because we don't need it. Now what you'll notice is that REPL just creates us a load of lines of code. So if I just make it really clear which is which section, I know we covered this in the last lesson, but we'll just make this really clear. So first is the Doctype.html, which basically just tells the browser what kind of file to read. In this case it's a HTML file. Then we have the start of our HTML page. So it starts with HTML, and then down here is the pair where it closes. Now remember that HTML tags have to open and close. If you don't close this tag, the page will never end. The close tag is this \.html. In the head section, this is where all the stuff happens that you don't see on page, okay? So anything you write here, you actually don't see it on page. And then finally, the body section is the stuff that you will see on page. So the line I want to concentrate in on is this line 6. This line 6 inside of the header tag allows us to create a style sheet and link any style that we have to this page. So you'll notice that the href is linking to a style.css, which is this page here. It has a relative file, which is a style sheet, and then it says what kind of style sheet you're finding, and it's a CSS. And this is all information so that the HTML page can connect to this page correctly. So that's what this line here does. One line of code connects us to this page. And we can see this just by writing just a tiny bit of CSS. So let's head on over to the CSS page. So you can see we're on the style sheet.css page. Now, one thing I should have said is we're going to do the body. We're going to do a bit of background color. So you'll notice that we have this body tag, and we can actually use this tag to do something to style, okay? So by styling the body tag, the whole of the background will change color. So heading back to the style sheet, we're going to start by just writing the word body. So that just tells our style sheet we're going to connect to the body tag. Now we need the curly brackets, which are the ones next to the P button on your keyboard. So when you write the opening P bracket, it will instantly do the closing bracket. Now you can style this however you want, or you can format this however you want, but the way that I do it is like this. So you have body, and then you have the opening bracket tag here, and then on line 3 you have the closing bracket. Now inside of this is where you write your style. So we're going to write a very simple style. It's called background. Now once we write our background, we're then going to use a colon to define what kind of background we're going to use. Initially, we're just going to use a very plain color, a word color. Okay, you can also use hexadecimal, and you can also use RGB, and I'll show you those things in a moment. So if I just type in the word red and then semicolon, you'll notice that we have our fully formatted file here. So it says body, open bracket, background, colon, red, semicolon, close, background. If we wanted, close curly bracket. If we wanted more styles, we'd just add them below, in between these brackets, okay? But for now, we're just going to do one style. We're going to press run, and we're going to see how this connects to this, okay? So if we go back to this page and look at the body tag, which is the whole of this background page, okay, and you'll notice now, because we typed that, it changed red. Now, just to show you and prove that again, let's try a different color. Let's try blue. Okay, and from this page we'll just press run. Okay, fantastic. Now those are just plain colors. The other color we can do is we can use an RGB color or a hexadecimal color. So the next color we're going to have a look at is we're going to try creating a hexadecimal color. So we're going to get rid of this blue, and we're going to head on over to Google. Now in our Google search, we're going to type in something like color picker. So once we type in color picker, you can spell it the American way or you can spell it the English way. It's completely up to you. But the first thing you come into when you get to Google is the actual hexadecimal color picker. Now, you can get the hex number, which always starts with a hashtag and then 6 numbers or letters, or you can use the RGB color. For now, we're just going to use the hex color. So let's say, for instance, we wanted, I don't know, this kind of color here. Okay. And we can choose whatever color we want. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this hex color, Control C for copy, go back to REPL. Now inside, between the colon and the semicolon, we're just going to press Control V for paste, and then it's going to update this. If we run it again, you'll notice that we get our color. Okay, so that's one way in which you can do it. Now the final thing we're going to look at is how to get a gradient color. So let's head on back to Google. So that's the color picker. The next one we're going to do is called Css Gradient. Okay, and then press enter. Now it's a generator that we want. Now you might have to try a few of these. I'm just going to try this top one, see how we get on with this. So this is Css Gradient Dot Io. Now if we scroll down, you're going to notice a few different things. So you can actually, at the moment, we've got this dark blue to light blue. We can actually change some of these colors here. So if you didn't want the first one to be this color, you can actually change it. So let's do something like, I don't know, let's just click over here, click on this one, click over here, and you'll notice that this is the color we get. If you didn't want to start off with this black, you can actually get rid of it. I believe you can also add color as well. There is a way of doing that. I'm not sure. I've got rid of that color, so we'll just leave it at that. Now, if we scroll down, we should get the actual CSS color. Now, the CSS color for this is actually this one line of code here. We don't necessarily need this first line. However, what the first line does is it acts as a bit of a backup, because some web browsers don't understand this linear gradient method. Okay, I know for a fact that Safari does, and I know for a fact that Chrome does, so we should be okay. But just to be on the safe side, we'll copy both lines of code. So Control C again. Now this time we're going to delete everything in this area, and then we're going to press Control V. So let's get rid of everything in that area in between those two brackets, and then press Control V. And you'll notice now that we have two different lines of code. They're both background, but it will be this one here that it tries to read. So press run, and we should get a nice gradient color. Now you can do all kinds of things. At the moment we have this vertical kind of background color, but if you didn't want that, you can actually rotate it here as well. So if you wanted to look more like this, you can actually do that, and then it puts the rotation in. So let's just copy this color as well and just see how that worked out for us. Control C. Oops, let's get rid of all that. Control V. Okay, I'm just pressing tab here just so that both of these are in line, and then I'm just going to press run, and hopefully, all being well, it should have. Now Safari didn't like this 45 degree angle, So it didn't actually do this. In Chrome you won't have any troubles getting that. So that's it for this part of the lesson. So have a little play around with your background colours, and then we'll move on to the next video.